my name is Maddie, and I'm going to
have a baby.
We are having a baby. Now, I was putting this video off. First of all, because it's a lot to compile 3 years of data and of life experiences into one video. But also because, I feel like my regular subscribers are going to be like, man, is this your video this week? No, they are great. You guys are awesome. However, the reason I say that is because this is all documented on this channel. I mean, not the last 3 years, but 2024, the year that I really, really got serious about it, that's all here on this channel. A lot of what I'm talking about, I have a fertility playlist. So if there's a subject that I touch on that maybe you're a little more interested in, I probably talk about it. I will also, as I talk about things, try to link them in the cards up top in hopes that, that may help someone if they want more specifics on everything that I did. But it was important to me to make this video because I just want this to be of use to someone out there, anyone out there. If this helps anyone, one person, it would just mean the world to me, and it would be worth it. So before I get started into what I did want to talk a little bit about my medical history and kind of some of the struggles I personally have, in case there's anyone out there that's like me that has the same hurdles I do or similar hurdles. I can kind of tell you what I did and what may have helped and what may help you. One other thing I do want to mention is that I do have a pregnancy announcement video. It was very emotional. I can't think about it too long without getting emotional, but I actually do a good job briefly summarizing my medical history and the struggles and everything like that we went through. So if you're interested, there is crying. There's a lot of crying in my fertility playlist. If that makes you uncomfortable, I'm sorry. It was just a really hard journey. But definitely check that video out. Check the playlist out. I'm done plugging myself now, okay? Okay. So in 2020, I was formally diagnosed with PCOS. Now, PCOS manifests itself in different ways in a lot of people. However, for me personally, it manifested itself in elevated testosterone, facial hair, very irregular periods, probably some other stuff, acne. I don't have severe PCOS. I hate that because PCOS just shows up in all kinds of different ways. But I have a sister who was never overweight, who has PCOS, and she has really horrible cysts and has infertility issues as well. So it really can show up in different ways. But basically, the big thing about polycystic ovarian syndrome is that it will mess with your fertility. And when I got diagnosed, I just knew that it would really mess with things. The other thing that I found out that I found it out in 2024. And I could rant about this for a while, so I will not. But basically, I went to a good doctor, and they read my chart in full and basically ran their own test to confirm this. But I have something called adenomyosis. I don't see this talked about online a lot. I know it's out there, but in the places where I get support, the support groups I'm in, a lot of people don't know what that is. They know what endometriosis is, but they don't know what adenomyosis is. Adenomyosis really doesn't have a cure as far as I know. There's nothing you can do. It just means that the inner lining of your uterus is extra thick and it can make implantation more difficult. And so it's yet another barrier that me and my husband had to overcome in our efforts to make a baby. So my husband and I started trying for a baby in 2022. But we were really loosey-goosey about it. We weren't serious about it. We basically just stopped preventing it and we're kind of having fun with it and hoping for the best. But unfortunately, that didn't really work out. And so I kind of realized probably about fall of 2022, hey, maybe I'm going to need some kind of medical intervention. And so I started with my gynecologist, basically asked her, and she was not the best. I mean, she wasn't a mean person, but essentially she blamed it on my weight, which, to be fair, I was quite overweight. The heaviest I was, I'm not sure if I was this heavy in 2022, but the heaviest I got to was 265 pounds. Now, I'm 5'2", so that's a lot of weight on my frame. And for me, PCOS has manifested itself in rapid weight gain. If I'm not on it with my diet, I will just gain a lot of weight. I've also had issues with hypothyroidism. I am not blaming me being that overweight on those things, But it would be really unfair for me to leave that out of the equation. A lot of people like to, well, you're just making excuses. No. I ate good food and unhealthy food and didn't move my body enough, and that was the reason. But again, it's just not fair to leave those things out. And unfortunately for me, I've come to discover that most doctors don't know what to say or do or how to help when it comes to PCOS. They want to prescribe you hormonal birth control. They want to put you on metformin, which ain't no shade. I was on metformin. I liked it. It's not for everyone. Other than that, they don't know what to do. So generally, for the most part, the doctors I've dealt with kind of ignore it. And this is not just my experience. I'm in a support group on Facebook for PCOS. I hear women's stories. I read them like every day. And so many women have the same experience I do. Trisha Deff here on YouTube, I've mentioned her before. She has had that same experience. Yeah, doctors don't know what to do about it. And so unfortunately for me, my doctor could only tell me to lose weight. And I realized it was a problem when I basically asked her, okay, what would you do if I weren't overweight? What's the plan going to be if I lose weight and it doesn't magically fix my problems? She didn't really seem to have an answer to that. She didn't really know. She was just so certain that it would fix my problems. And so I was like, okay, fair enough. I will get on a GLP-1. She was very against that. I stopped seeing her. I still have this primary care physician. I just haven't seen her in a bit because I see an OBGYN. But my primary care physician was very supportive of me getting on a GLP-1. So from December of 2023 to May of 2024, it was actually 5 months because I think it was late December. For 5 months, I was on a GLP-1 called Zepbound. And I'm not against GLP-1s. If you are, I'm sorry for you. But I was on a GLP-1 and I really took it seriously that I wanted to get the most I could for the amount of time that I would be on it, because I knew I wouldn't be on it for long, because you're not supposed to try for a baby when you're on a GLP-1. Now, I'm going to be real with y'all. I got a new gynecologist because I didn't like that other one. And she basically told me, like, look, that's the recommendation, but I'm just going to tell you right now, I have had multiple patients get pregnant while they were on a GLP-1, and all of their babies are perfectly healthy and perfectly fine. Obviously you would have to stop when you get pregnant, but yeah. Now, I'm not a doctor. I'm not giving medical advice. That is so important to say. However, she was like, I'm not going to medically advise you to try, but, whatever. So me and Henry were semi-preventing while I was on Zepbound. But regardless, I knew it was going to be a temporary thing. And so I used that to essentially kickstart my weight loss journey. Lost about 40 pounds while I was on it, and then slowly continued to lose that other 20-ish pounds. Not bad. I'm generally pretty proud of that. And I continued good habits after I got off the GLP-1. But despite this, when I hit about the 50-pound weight loss mark, I realized that it was not the magical cure-all that I was promised it would be. I have a lot of videos talking about this and coming to terms with it. And I have a lot of weird feelings about it because, obviously, weight loss is a good thing. I look better. I feel better. I don't know. It's objective as to if I look better, but I feel better. But I really blamed myself for my infertility issues, and I don't really know that it was tied that much to my weight. I know a lot of people disagree. I don't really care. It's just my journey, and after losing 50 pounds, nothing was changing. I still wasn't ovulating, and I still wasn't having regular periods as far as I recall. I know for a fact I wasn't ovulating because I lamented about that often. And so I went to my new gynecologist, and she sent me to a specialist. She did not really know what to do with me. She did not want to just blindly prescribe me ovulation medicine, which was what I was wanting. So I went to a specialist. And I ended up really seeing that specialist for diagnostic issues. She confirmed my adenomyosis. She did lab work. Henry, my husband, had already been tested, like his boys had already been tested, and he was fine. So it was really centered around me. And basically what she told me when she confirmed my diagnosis for adenomyosis is that in a given month, if someone's actively trying to have a baby and mom is good, dad is good, everything's working okay, you time it correctly, you still only have about a 15 to 20% chance of making a baby. And that's not much. That's not a lot. So you only have a 15 to 20% chance. But then when you start adding all these barriers, PCOS, adenomyosis, all of that percentage starts going down. So then it goes from 6 months, which is what it takes the average couple to make a baby when they're actively trying, that it just starts going up. And before you know it, it's been years. And that's what it was for me. And so basically she told me the only medical intervention that she could advise might be IVF. But like jumping straight to a $20,000 medical procedure that may or may not work didn't really sit well with me. And she was understanding of that and basically just said, look, I know it's frustrating to hear, but just keep trying. I don't want to say, I was going to say as luck would have it, but really it wasn't luck. It was hard work on my part and Henry's part. Why am I getting emotional at that? Okay, I'm fine. But with a lot of hard work, we finally made a baby. Now, I've been talking for over 10 minutes, so let's talk about what it was that I did. Now, obviously, I can't talk about my fertility journey without talking about my weight loss journey. Again, all documented here on the channel. You can go check out some workout challenges I did, even like diet-related challenges and things like that. Eating more vegetables, eating more plant-based, etc. Yes, I lost a lot of weight. However, I wouldn't point to that being the sole thing that helped me. In fact, the thing that I would point to was advised by this book. And in fact, this book, it's called It Starts with the Egg by Rebecca Fett. This book really steered me in the right direction. Now, I will say Rebecca Fett, she is not a doctor. I forget what she is because it's been over a year since I've read this book. But basically, she does a lot of research in her job. I don't care. I thought her book was extremely helpful, and it was what spearheaded my journey. One more thing I do want to say before I really get into this. If you hear this list and you're like, Maddie, what the hell? That is a lot of things. I totally understand. I get it. It's totally cool. It's fine. You don't have to try all this. Just keep in mind that at this point, it was like year 3 for me and Henry, and I was getting desperate. I was determined, if I don't make a baby, it's not going to be because I didn't do everything I could possibly do. Does that make sense? Did I say that weird? You feel me? I don't want to ever blame myself again. And I did. I blamed myself over the weight loss stuff and being overweight at the start of this journey. I'm not doing that again. So, the book goes over a lot of things you can do, a lot of steps you can take. But one of the things that the book advised that I actually went with was trying the Mediterranean diet. Now, there is some research that if you have PCOS, the ketogenic diet could be of use, but that research isn't fully fleshed out from what I know of. A lot of people get pregnant while on keto, so I would definitely be like remiss to, leave that out of the equation. For me, I really had trouble with the keto diet. I've been on and off the keto diet many times, and that was kind of one of my patterns, was just trying keto again and again and again. And so basically, she advised a Mediterranean diet, and I did my own research and was like, wow, this seems like this is just an overall, all-around healthy diet. I don't think a lot of people could argue that it's unhealthy. It just seemed like a good diet. Now, I'm not here to demonize food at all, and nor does the Mediterranean diet really. I do have a video on that, so I won't get too far into it, but basically it did focus on eating whole foods, avoiding red meat, having fish twice a week, lean protein, stuff like that. However, even on the little food pyramid for the Mediterranean diet, they do leave room for things like special occasions and whatnot. So if I'm being honest, I would say I was Mediterranean diet friendly probably about 70% of the time. Then 15% of the time, I really like Asian cooking. I'm sure it's like white people Asian cooking, but I really like various forms of Asian cooking. The Mediterranean diet doesn't really, use soy sauce or miso and things like that. So I do like some Asian cooking. So I would make some Asian dishes. And then the other remaining 15% would be like special occasions. I'm going to get ice cream or this or that. So honestly, if I could only give my stamp of approval for one thing, probably would be the Mediterranean diet. Your diet really does affect your eggs and your fertility and whatnot. So yeah, okay. All rambling aside, let's move on to the next point. Vitamins/supplements. I know a lot of people are like, well, you should get all that from your diet, and you really should. However, there are different things that you can do that can help the health of your eggs. I do have an Instagram post that I'll probably throw up here of all of the things I used to take. And yes, that is overboard. I know it's overboard and it's expensive. It's expensive. However, if you were like, Maddie, I don't want to take all that, give me your like top 2 recommendations. For me personally, as someone with PCOS, Ovicitol, it's also like myodichiral inositol, that and coenzyme 10. Really quick, I do want to say you cannot or should not take coenzyme 10 once you are pregnant. However, coenzyme 10 is supposed to kind of boost your eggs up a bit, and your partner can also take coenzyme 10 to boost his boys. I had a thing and Henry had a thing. We spent a lot of money on vitamins is the point. But I do think it helped. At the very least, I think those top 2 things help. The next one should be obvious, and it's probably where a lot of people start. But the reason it's lower on the list, there's a reason it's lower on the list. And that would be timing/ovulation tests. Now, for me, the reason it's lower on the list is because when you have PCOS, you actually can't trust those tests. There are lots of false spikes and things like that. It even says it on the box. If you have PCOS, you might not be able to rely on it. Which brings me to my next point, which is the Oura ring. Now, you don't have to do the Oura ring. This was how I chose to track my temperature and whatnot, mainly because partially because I thought manually tracking my temperature with a thermometer, I just kept getting like contradictory information, and I found it to be a bit confusing. And so yes, I did spend the money on an Oura ring. I had a gift card. Henry helped pay for it. I don't know. But this thing is $300. This is no joke. And you have to pay 2 different memberships. I actually have a review on the Oura ring. I will link that where videos are linked. But the combination for me of temperature tracking and tracking via ovulation tests, I think having both of those data points and being able to do that at home without medical intervention, that it's a wrap. I think that really helped. A lot of people will even say like, you can't trust temperature tracking if you have PCOS. You use every tool at your arsenal. That was how I felt. And I really do think it helped. But interesting fact, the month that I got pregnant, my Oura ring and my ovulation tests did not agree. They were both off by like 2 or 3 days. My ovulation test detected a spike, I think a couple days, and my Oura ring detected a temperature spike. You feel me? Maybe. I don't know. I kind of got a little tongue-tied there. They did not agree. But, me and my husband just kind of did it both times and the days leading up and the days after, and we were just thorough about it. Okay, sorry. I know that might be a little awkward to talk about, but like I can't talk about making a baby without talking about making a baby. Okay. So that was the next thing I tried. Something else I did briefly try for probably, I think about 2 months or so, was I did do apple cider vinegar with my water before breakfast. It sucked. Start slow. I think it's a tablespoon for like 16 ounces of water. I would do like half a tablespoon and work my way up, like a teaspoon, 2 teaspoons. Ugh. I did not enjoy it. I did get more used to it, but I never enjoyed it. But hydration is a good thing. And there is some research. It's not the best, but there is some research that it can help with insulin spikes. I'm not here to recommend it as like a weight loss thing because I think the research is really shaky on that, and I don't buy it as a weight loss thing, but I have heard in certain Asian countries, they think it helps with insulin spikes. just something else that I tried. And then last but not least, and I'm a little hesitant to put this in the video, but at the same time, I kind of feel like I have to. They say that dietary changes can affect the health of your eggs and your fertility. However, they say that it takes 3 months to affect it. So if you're making good changes in January, you will technically, your eggs will not see the benefits of that technically until March, April-ish. That is what they say. I've heard 90 days, I've heard 100 days. I don't like to think about that because that's a lot. Like, it's just intimidating. Like, oh, I have to be perfect for 3 months to hope for the best. You know, I don't like it, but that is what they say. Consistency is really going to be your best friend here. However, having said all that, the month that I got pregnant, I was doing a no added sugar challenge. This may or may not be a coincidence. I'm sure it's a coincidence. I don't know that I would advise it because it is not. Again, I'm not here to demonize food. I'm not here to demonize processed food. I love a carb balanced tortilla. I literally have to like make myself only eat one a day because I'm obsessed. Yeah. I'm not here to demonize food. However, I did do that. And I'm not just talking like, oh, I switched from Coca-Cola to Diet Coke. I don't really drink soda. That's a terrible example, but no artificial sugar either. I would eat naturally occurring sugar like an apple, oranges, things like that. But if sugar was added to it, it was a no-go. I ate grainy Ezekiel bread that tasted like dish sponge. It was the hardest challenge I had done. It was every bit as difficult as losing that 60 pounds, but I did it. And that was the month that I ended up being pregnant. Again, I just want to give you guys everything that I did. Okay. So this was a long video. If you are new around here, you might be shocked. But if you're not, you're not shocked. But I really did want to be thorough because I really hope that this video can help someone out there. If it just helps one person, I would love that. And that would mean the world to me. But, if you are out there and you are trying, I feel you, I hear you. I shed so many tears during my fertility journey. I'm incredibly grateful that I had my husband with me. He was so supportive. And I think finding support where you can and just know that you are doing the best you can and it's not your fault. And it may feel like your body is failing you, but your body hopefully will do what it's meant to do with time, hard work, and yes, some luck. But okay, I hope you guys have a great day. Like I said, I just hope this video is helpful to anyone out there. If it is, leave a nice comment, like the video, subscribe. It all helps out the growth of my channel. But other than that, I hope you guys have a great day. Bye. Bye.